Secondly, I say historically, we Muslims, the Ummah, the Islamic community in the world today, is in a situation a bit similar to the time of Jesus. And the person who made this argument was the great historian Arnold Toynbee. Arnold Toynbee, towering historian of the 20th century, wrote this very interesting article. And Muslims sometimes quote that, saying that in the modern era, Muslims are a bit like Jews in the time of Jesus. In what sense? We Muslims believe we're God's chosen people. We have the true religion. But there's this foreign civilization called Rome that has come and occupied you, right? It sometimes appointed subservient dictators to Roman interests. Yeah. And this is just a trauma, historical trauma. And Toynbee says in his famous article, I think 1940s, he wrote this. He says, when civilizations face a challenge like this, especially civilizations like Islam and Judaism, which are civilizations who believe that they represent God's truth, they develop two extreme responses. One is Herodianism, like be exactly like the Romans, imitate their ways, have hat laws that you put on people. So like Ataturk's, and he mentions Ataturk as one example of Herodianism, like abandon who you are and exactly imitate what you are, what the intruder is. That's not a line I support, as a Turk, I should say that. And then he says the other one is zealotism or zealotry. And that is be so strict in your observance of the law, fight the enemy, just be militant in your understanding. And he sees these as two extremes. Now, I think this very much represents our reality in the modern world today. Indeed, we have Muslims who, because of the Western, like Rome, and also Roman hegemony, let's not forget, was not just political, but also cultural. Hellenism was a very powerful influence. And I think this has led in the Muslim world to some authoritarian regimes or some self-hating Muslims who want to abandon who they are and exactly be like the Romans, And actually, by the way, modern West at least has some democracy and liberalism that the Romans didn't have. But anyway, but then this other approach, which is zealotry, which is be incredibly strict and uncompromising and establish theocracies and fights and with arms and everything. And that line, by the way, the term theocracy is used by Josephus, Jewish historian, as the ideal of the groups who are fighting the Roman occupation. And these zealots were willing to establish a theocracy. And some of them also engage in terrorism. They were called sicari. They were using daggers to insult people. Now, I see historically as Jesus, Isa al-Masih, as a Jew, a pious Jew, a prophet to the Jews, who represented a third way. And that third way was neither subservience to Rome and buying into Roman ideas and Roman beliefs, not abandoning his faith, but also criticizing attitudes within Judaism, which was forgetting the spirit of the law and focusing on rigid implementation of the law. So he called on fellow Jews of his time to revive their tradition, but also reform some of their ways so that the Halakha actually represents the moral ideals it is supposed to. That's why he was a Jewish reformist. He was not subservient to Rome. He was not a fanatic that is fighting a war for establishing a theocracy. And he was representing a third line. Therefore, for example, I find some of the criticisms we see in the New Testament from Jesus to rigid literalists of his day as relevant. And I see that criticism quite pertinent to some of the things I see in the Muslim world today. So what we can learn from Jesus is that when we are in a situation like his time, the right sunnah is neither self-denial and imitationism, nor fanaticism and rigid literalism. It's rather healing ourselves and improving our own spiritual state.